randoms, thank you for joining me while I'm sitting here watching the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, as she holds her press briefing. Let's get right into it.
Everybody, good to see you all. President Trump is in charge and America is back. This week further demonstrated that the Trump effect is real. Over the weekend, Americans celebrated the return of American-Israeli citizen Keith Siegel and two Israelis who were held captive by Hamas terrorists since October 7th, 2023. President
I want to say welcome home, guys. And hopefully we can get everybody who's being held hostage at the moment home where they belong. The last 4 years has just been atrocious for people that are still held in captivity.
Trump and his administration worked diligently to secure their release and are committed to freeing all remaining hostages. Yesterday, as you all know, President Trump held his first foreign meeting at the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And as the president said, the bonds of friendship and affection between the American and Israeli people have endured for generations and are absolutely unbreakable. The president is committed to eliminating Hamas and securing a lasting peace for the entire region. The historic proposal for the United States to take over Gaza, announced by President Trump last night, underscores this commitment. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
And that's exactly what all the Democratic voters are doing. They're voting these people in year after year and election cycle after election cycle, and they're wondering why nothing changes. Unfortunately, I live in a blue state and they keep doing the same exact thing. Down in Baltimore City, we have a mayor that doesn't know what he's doing. He's more concerned with I'm like, I don't even want to get into all that. Let's just keep with the video.
President Trump is an outside of the box thinker and a visionary leader who solves problems that many others, especially in this city, claim are unsolvable. We've already seen the results from President Trump's bold peace through strength diplomacy on the world stage. In response to President Trump's tariffs this week, both Mexico and Canada took immediate steps to alleviate the illegal alien migration and flow of deadly drugs, particularly fentanyl, into our country. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum agreed to permanently supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the U.S. border who will be specifically designated to stopping fentanyl and criminal aliens from pouring in.
Yeah, it seems like they all got a bunch of tough talk. It's like everybody that Trump says, hey, look, straighten up, do the right thing. And then they come back with, we will not be pushed around. We will not. Well, you know what? My president's a bully. Whatever. He's bullying everyone into doing the right thing. So, look, there was a great man that once said, talk softly, carry a big stick. Well, it's time for the big stick because that talking softly stuff over the last 4 years isn't working. So it's time for a change. I'm glad we got it.
Into our country. And Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau agreed to appoint a fentanyl czar, list cartels as terrorists, and increase resources to assist the 10,000 frontline personnel at our northern border with Canada. In recognition of these steps, President Trump paused the implementation of tariffs for 1 month while negotiations continue and final deals can be structured. Throughout the transition and during his inaugural address, President Trump made it known that the United States cannot and will not allow the Chinese Communist Party to continue with its effective and growing control over the Panama Canal. Following Secretary Rubio's successful first trip and visit there over the weekend, Panama's president said he will allow its participation in the Chinese Communist Party's, it will no longer allow the participation in the Belt and Road Initiative. That participation will expire. This is significant because Panama was the first Latin American nation to join Belt and Road and now becomes the first to back away from it because of President Trump. And to assist with the ongoing mass deportation effort, El Salvador's president has agreed to the most unprecedented migratory agreement anywhere in the world. Because President Trump is back in charge, El Salvador has offered for illegal aliens of any nationality facing deportation in the U.S. to be booked in his country's prison system. And finally, President Trump's envoy for special missions, Rick Grenell, traveled to Venezuela and not only secured the release of 6 American hostages, but Venezuela also agreed to accept the return of illegal alien Tren de Aragua gang members. All of these incredible victories prove how well President Trump's peace through strength approach is working. And the days of weak American leadership are over. In another success story this week, efforts to seal the border, halt the invasion, and carry out the largest mass deportation campaign continue at lightning speed. Customs and Border Protection has approximately 79 miles of new border wall projects already underway in various stages of construction and planning. The first flights arrived to Guantanamo Bay yesterday afternoon out of El Paso. And who were some of the passengers aboard, you may ask? There were 10 members of the transnational gang Tren de Aragua on this flight. And overall, our heroic ICE agents continue to prioritize the removal of violent, criminal, illegal aliens in communities across the country.
Now, the good thing about this, like the great thing about this, is that once these neighborhoods start seeing a decrease in the criminal activity, and they see how things are starting to be better, everything's going to flip red. And I'm here for it. We need to build this country up. Now, social issues aside, because we won't have social issues if there's no society. We have to make our country strong. And the only way to do that is through strength, not through laying down and letting these countries walk all over us. So I applaud everything they're doing.
On February 3rd, ICE Dallas arrested a citizen of Nicaragua who has been convicted of sexual assault, strong arm, and lewd acts with a minor and sentenced to 15 years in prison. ICE Los Angeles arrested a Mexican citizen who has been convicted of lewd acts with a minor and sentenced to 364 days. And ICE Atlanta arrested a citizen of Mexico who has been convicted of homicide by vehicle and hit and run and sentenced to 6 months confinement. And ICE New York arrested a Venezuelan national and known TDA gang member who has a prior criminal conviction for assault in the 3rd degree causing physical injury. Americans are safer every single time one of these criminals is arrested and deported from our country. On another important and ongoing topic, the Senate is working fast to confirm President Trump's exceptional cabinet nominees in the face of relentless media smear campaigns. As of right now, 12 members of the president's cabinet have been confirmed, most recently Pam Bondi, who, as you all know, I was just in the Oval Office for that swearing-in ceremony surrounded by Pam's lovely family, and we look forward to watching her serve as the Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah, she brought up a good point. The media continuously smears, and I almost feel sorry for them because they're doing this to themselves, and that's the reason I don't feel sorry for them. That's why it's almost feel sorry for them. A lot of these people that work for these stations and these companies that put out these smear campaigns and give false news, fake news to the public. I mean, they're just getting paid, but there comes a point when you got to wake up in the morning and say to yourself, am I hurting or am I helping? I mean, yeah, the paycheck is great, but it's not going to be there anymore. It's getting to a point where no one trusts legacy media. No one wants to absorb any of it. The only people that really do are the cult members that are brainwashed. And it's getting to a point where you're not gonna be going to any of those news outlets for your information. It's gonna be places like YouTube and TikTok, even Facebook. They're changing their policies on what type of information they're allowing out. They're letting free speech become the norm, and legacy media does not like free speech. They want to program you. They want you to be brainwashed. They want you to fall in line, and it's disappearing.
According to CNN, President Trump is getting more cabinet picks confirmed so far than the average president in the modern era. Another success story. And we believe it's critical that Republicans in the Senate majority stay tough and keep their foot on the gas to confirm all of the remaining nominees as quickly as possible so we can continue President Trump's important work here at the White House and across our entire federal government.
See, the great thing about America is that we are all able to disagree with each other. You may disagree with everything I say, and that's the beauty of America, that we're allowed to do that. That is a fundamental right. It's a God-given right. It's not a privilege. It's not something that can be just taken away, which, I mean, it can be taken away, but it should never be taken away. It should always be able to speak your mind. So I disagree with you, you disagree with me, you disagree with her, anything. I mean, what you can't disagree with is results. We are getting results now, and it's beautiful.
And lastly, throughout his historic campaign, President Trump pledged to restore common sense to our country. And he is continuing to deliver on that with an executive order that he will sign later today. The president will be signing an executive order keeping men out of women's sports.
Yes, men have no place, and I don't give a shit what you think about that. Men have no place in women's sports. As a father of daughters, no, never, never. Great. It's a great thing.
To defend the safety of athletes, protect competitive integrity, and uphold the promise of Title IX. This common sense action from President Trump ends the disgusting betrayal of women and girls by the previous administration, who for years catered to radical activists who wanted biological males to be treated as women in workplace showers, competitive sports, prisons, and even rape shelters. Gender ideology insanity is over. Submissions from individuals across the country interested in participating in our new media seat at a future briefing continue to flood in. We are at more than 12,000 and counting. If you're watching right now and are interested, you can continue to apply on our new media website, whitehouse.gov/newmedia. And in the seat today, we have a longtime national television broadcaster. I'm sure many of you recognized her when she came in, Sage Steele, who is now the host of an incredibly successful podcast, The Sage Steele Show, on YouTube and all podcast platforms.
Yeah, I love her. They did her dirty at ESPN just because she had views that didn't fall in line with mass media, legacy media. And I'm glad that she's getting, the recognition and success that she deserves. It's awesome.
And previously, Sage was a fixture at ESPN from 2007 to 2023, primarily hosting SportsCenter, which we all know well, before leaving the company to exercise her First Amendment rights more freely. We are honored to welcome her to the briefing room today. She will be joining the president at the big EO signing later this afternoon. I know many of you will be there as well.
That's
so
cool.
Sage, why don't you kick us off on this very exciting day for women and girls across the country. Thank you for joining us.
It is exciting, and Caroline, thank you for welcoming people like me with a little bit of a different perspective, different background in this seat. It really does mean a lot. Thank you. Obviously, the House already passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which was a really big step for women and girls. So far, the Senate, as we know, has not brought it up to vote. We all know executive orders can be overturned, so I'm wondering how important it is to the president to get Congress to bring this, to pass legislation. So there are no instances like the past administration that really tried to destroy Title IX.
It's incredibly important that Congress immediately acts on this priority. I think the president is really setting the tone, making this a very immediate priority for this administration, just as he promised to do on the campaign trail. And I'd like to get into the executive order a little bit because it is the news of the day here.
See, Title IX is very important because I've been saying this for years, and I wholeheartedly believe it, and it's just common sense. And it's crazy that common sense is now, like, it's not as common as it used to be. So now things that, used to be common sense seem like revolutionary. It's crazy. But women and men are not equal, but we are equally important. And that should never be taken for granted. Women, I would say, it's it's hard to put into words because the importance of men you know it's abundantly clear. But for years, for a long time, for a millennia, for maybe longer than that, women have been held to, um, I guess, a stigma that they're less important. But without women, there's no one else. You know, you took every woman off the face of the earth, then you would never have any more people. Everyone would die off, and that would be it. Same thing with men. And I'm not saying that women have to be, held down to a particular place in society, but the role of the homemaker is more important than it gets credit for. You need a loving mother and a father that goes out there and fights hard for you. I mean, the roles could be reversed. The loving husband could be home with the kids and the woman go out and fight, but how productive is that really? You do have outliers. You do have women who are, stronger than men. You do have men that are a little weaker, more sensitive. But if you look at what works, and this shouldn't even it sounds controversial in my head saying it. I think I've been programmed. But what works most of the time is that the male figure does the hard things. The woman stays home, does the loving things, makes sure the children are nurtured. They have the right headspace going into the world, know how to treat people with respect and dignity and love and empathy. And the man shows the tough side, teaches the kids how to stand their ground, be assertive, be, you know, masculinity. There's femininity, there's masculinity, and men do the masculinity way better than women do, and the women do the femininity way better than men do. And you need both. You need both, and I think the best way to get that is traditional values. And you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like that. That's what I was saying earlier. That's the beauty of America.
At the White House and talk about what this executive action will actually do. So the executive order that the president will be signing later this afternoon, as I said, upholds the promise of Title IX. It also will require the DOJ to abide by the nationwide previous administration's illegal Title IX rewrite that would have dissolved single-sex spaces and opportunities. It also requires immediate action, including enforcement actions against schools and athletic associations comprised of schools that deny women single-sex sports in single-sex locker rooms. The executive order also calls for the convening of private sporting bodies in the White House. We want them to come to this campus so the president can hear in person the stories of female athletes who have suffered lifelong injuries, who have been silenced and forced to shower with men and compete with men on athletic fields across the country. Many of those women will be at the White House today. I encourage all of you in the media to actually talk to them, to hear their stories. And I would also just add one more thing. This is a wildly popular position with the American people. In fact, there was a new poll recently that showed the overwhelming majority of Democrats also support keeping biological men out of women's sports. And so I know that.
That's the thing. There are tons and tons and tons of Democrats that believe in common sense. The only problem is the left, the far left, the cult of whatever you want to call this, because I really don't even want to give it a name anymore. It's like once you give something a name and you give it attention, it grows, So insanity needs to stop. And there are plenty of Democrats who believe in the sanctity of common sense. And they're scared. They're scared to, because they're gonna be looked at like a Trumper or right wing or it. Don't be scared. Join the fight. You can still be a Democrat, still be on that side of the aisle, and still fight for the things that you believe are true, as long as they don't impede on the rights of the rest of us and they don't go against biological logic and things of that sort. You know?
The president is very excited about the bill signing that will take place at 3 o'clock this afternoon. You will hear from him more on that later, and we look forward to seeing you there, Sage. So thank you very, very much. Garrett, great to see you here today.
Thank you. I'm
going to end it there. And I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section. It's the worst part about having a new channel is that I don't really have a following yet. So hopefully I can obtain one soon so I can start talking to you guys. So I would love to hear back. I really love interactions with people, and I can't wait till this channel grows enough that I can start interacting with you guys more. But if you happen to see this and you want to leave a comment, I would love to talk to you about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment and share. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys.